up, everyone? I am Nico the Barber. We're back in the Cut Factory, and today we're talking about unconditional love. For those of you that are new, thank you for coming. For those of you that are returning, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it, and I really hope that you can take something away from this video. Let's dive right in. So before we get in depth about unconditional love, let's first talk about love in general. Love is and always should be a selective process. Love is about clarity and finding out if your vision for your life aligns with the direction and vision that the other person has set for their own life. It's always going to be extremely difficult to have something with anyone when you're relying on bad information instead of seeking out more knowledge, instead of asking the right questions. Ask yourself questions like, does this love make me feel stuck? Does this love support me? Does this love provide sufficient expansion? Meaning, is there room in this relationship for me to grow past the person that they met me as right now today? If there's no room for me to become more wise, more stable, more secure in my own self, more awakened, it's not a good one. Within this relationship, do these people contribute to my goals? Do they care about what I hope to achieve? Also, am I able to still be myself? Do I have my own identity while still adding to their life? Because this is very important. You're an individual at the end of the day. Let's not forget that unconditional love is not at all, by any means, any shape, form, or fashion, room for you to be disrespected, disregarded, or treated like a doormat. Ever. That's not what this is. Unconditional love is being sensitive to the feelings, space, and needs of another person. Sensitive to that space. Sensitive to those feelings and those needs. Because just like them, you have all of these same things yourself. When it comes to unconditional love, you should wholeheartedly and fully be able to be your own self and trust that being that person is not going to damage your relationship in any way. You should not have to walk on eggshells to validate another person's feelings. As long as there's no ill intent, you should always be able to be yourself in every sense of the word. It's unrealistic to expect that you'll always be the person that your partner fell in love with. It's not. It's not realistic at all. And it's okay that you're not always going to be that person. Growth is the greatest gift of all. If you can look back in your relationship 6 months prior, a year prior, if you've been together that long, you should always be able to reflect back and see growth in yourself. Growth within your relationship, within the dynamic. Always. One of my best friends asked me this question. She said, what do I look like giving myself and my love to someone that doesn't treat me just as good as my friends do? And on the surface level, a lot of people would probably say, my friends don't do as much for me as my partner does. But are you sure about that? Because a lot of the time, it's your friends who, give you that unbiased support. They give you the real truth and the cold, hard facts. But because we're able to separate, that intimate aspect that you share with a partner, we can just get right on in and dive into it. My friends I think of as my soul tribe because we can laugh together, we can cry together, we can pray together, we can hold each other accountable. We can uplift one another. We can pour into each other in so many ways. And still, if we're having a moment where we're not able to be that friend for them that we have always been, it's overstood and it never has to be explained why one of us decided to withdraw for a while. We already know how this stuff goes. It's all about knowing your person. And that could be your friend, that could be your lover, that could be your boss. But you need to know the person, and you find out things about this person by seeking out more knowledge instead of relying on bad information. Bad information doesn't mean it's wrong information. It just means that you probably don't have the full story. You just have your version. If you ask me, Nico, what is unconditional love to you? What does it mean? Unconditional love leaves room for error. It allows for you to actually be a human and make mistakes. But through those mistakes, lessons are learned. The things that you learn are then applied into your everyday life. And from that, you're able to continue to heal and continue to grow. I think it's truly the gift that keeps giving. Yes, we go through things, but it's usually not the actual action that happened that puts us in the places where it's hard to get out of. As a human race, we suffer from two things. One thing is memory. The other thing is imagination. The minute that something goes wrong in your relationship, you start to think about all the good times that y'all had. You start to think about how you pictured having a life with this person in the future. The minute you get fired from a job or you have to quit a job, you start thinking about, dang, I remember when I first started here. Or you start reflecting and imagining about how, in 3 years, I would have been the VP. I would have been in this position. I would have been there. I would have had these accolades. Memory and imagination. There's nothing wrong with having either of those, but where we suffer, where we really lose, is because we don't have understanding of the fact that memory nor imagination are the present moment. Those are not the things that are happening right now. Those are not the things that are going to help you get out of where you are right now. Wherever you are watching this video, your memories of the past and your imagination of the future are irrelevant at this point. Okay, unconditional love is love without conditions. We've figured that much out. But those conditions have to be within reason. You are very much allowed to have conditions, but they are conditions within reason. And I think that that's fair. Some of the conditions are including but not limited to what we feel like a person can do for us. What type of wealth they can bring into our lives. How they can make things easier for us in some shape, form, or fashion. Also, how they make us feel. Your feelings are going to change all the time. You're going to trust another person who also can control their own feelings at every point of the day with yours. When I say within reason, you should never continue to provide love and produce energy in these types of situations. If someone is physically, emotionally, mentally, or verbally abusive, that's absolutely not okay. If someone continues to show you time after time that you are not a priority in their life, that's not okay. And last but definitely not least, if this person is not able to reciprocate the things that you bring to the relationship, that's not okay. Unconditional love, it requires a certain level of selflessness. And honestly, selflessness is the purest form of love. Because you're not looking for anything. Except if it's going to uplift them and if it's going to bring out the best in them. This is rare. Selflessness is the ability to put your needs to the side. Unconditional love is selflessness. That's what it is. It's about being supportive. It's about being encouraging. Unconditional love is the active choice to continue to love someone and show up for them, knowing that there is no reward on the other side. However, you should always have realistic expectations because that's what practical people do. Practical people are realistic. If you have a partner who truly embodies this type of energy, this is the type of partner that you need for something long term. This is a type of partner that really can see the bigger picture. This type of person will be able to weather any type of storm with you and will probably hold the umbrella as well. Both partners understand that they both need to provide security for one another. We all need that in a relationship to know that we can feel as freely as we need to. We can hurt or we can be happy or we can be in uproar. We can just feel a range of emotions and not have to worry about walking on eggshells for the fear of, not fully appeasing the other person's feelings. Like, that's validation, and validation is for parking. Validation is for parking. I'm sorry. So park your ego, park your pride all over there. Please and thank you. For those of you wondering if you've ever experienced unconditional love, you don't know if you've ever been a recipient. Some of the things you might hear sound like this. It's okay to be sad. Congratulations on your new job. I know how hard you worked to get there, and I'm so proud of you. I'm excited for you. Hey, I got something at the store earlier. When I saw this, it made me think of you. I hope you like it. And then something a little bit more common. I love that about you. If you pay attention to those statements, you'll notice that they're all universal ways of expressing unconditional love, because love is not only shared between romantic partners, but between friends, between colleagues, between family members, and even between pets, or between the owner and the pet anyway. In any relationship, but especially one filled with unconditional love, boundaries should never be overlooked and needs should never be neglected. Now, maybe on the other side, you've never been a recipient of unconditional love. Maybe you've been a recipient of some of the more narcissistic sides of things. And you might hear statements such as, I've done so much for you, and all you've done is disappoint me. Or you may hear a person say, my partner's upset with me because I decided to quit my 9 to 5 and pursue my dreams of being a puppet master, whatever. Or you may know someone who's told you, when we were younger and we didn't meet our parents' expectations, they would scream at us. Or even one that I've heard myself. This is the thanks that I get after everything that I've done for you. Well, first of all, did you do it for me so that I can be a better person? Or did you do it because it made you feel validated in some way that you could even say you did this? Because I'm going to need you to back all that energy all the way up and all the way up out of my life. You are not allowed to have expectations that you do not voice. A closed mouth does not get fed. You are not allowed to have expectations unless you are going to be open and honest about them. Be an active listener. Listen to understand instead of listening to respond. And I am the first to admit that I am guilty of this. I do it even still to this day because I get so passionate about the things that we're talking about. And as you say something and then it sparks a thought in my mind, my memory is bad, so I want to get it out right away. But that's rude. And it's unnecessary. Because if what I have to say is that important, it'll come back to me, or I can write it down and I can come back to it later. But the purpose of having a conversation, when someone is speaking to you, when there's dialogue taking place, that's because they want you to understand something. How do you understand something when your gums are always bumping? Work on not being so defensive. If somebody comes to you with information, 9 times out of 10 is coming from a place of love. Because after all, if someone doesn't care, they definitely not going to take the time out to tell you the things that they don't care about. They're going to show you they don't care by disregarding it. So when someone comes at you with something, if it doesn't make you feel, like it's something you can handle in that moment and you need time to process it, say that. Say those things. No one is going to love you less because they gave you information that you need time to process. And if they are that type of person, that's a clear indication that that's not your person. You can't lose. Be mindful of control tactics, whether they're coming from your partner or whether you're the person, having controlling ways. Pay attention to those things. Or do you gaslight your partner? Do you breadcrumb your partner? Are you manipulative? These are things you need to ask yourself. More than anything, pay attention to red flags. We love to overlook those red flags, and then we want to wave our little white flag as soon as our heart's been broken and we feel like, oh, I just can't do it. I gave it all I had. Well, guess what? After you finish waving that white flag and you look over to the side, guess what's over there? That red flag, still blowing in the wind as relentlessly as it wants to. Because it was always there. The signs are always there. Did you want to see the sign is the question. Unconditional love is not putting up with things that you know are not conducive to your highest level of self. That's self-sabotage. And the behaviors are a little toxic. In middle school, we all learned about something in government called checks and balances. Checks and balances. There needs to be give and take in the relationship. There should not be one person that's more in control or one person that's less in control. If you want to cultivate an abundant love harvest, it's going to require you to be able to take pieces from every single thing that we've discussed and embody those things every day. Love is very much a choice. And the moment you feel like you don't want to choose it anymore, let the other person know. To all my people that are healers out there like me, that are fixers, that are loyal to a fault, even when you know you should leave, to all of those people, regardless of what experience you have, never let the world harden you. Never let the world take you out of you. You know that your love is pure. Continue to live in that love and put out that love so that you can get back that love, because you do deserve it. I can't accept anybody that's not willing to give me what I give me. And if you're giving yourself garbage, then I'm sorry for you. You need to reevaluate, and you need to find your worth, and you need to stand in that. But for those of you that know, like I know, you better know. I can't accept anybody that's not willing to give me what I give me. I find myself thinking, well, if they didn't give it to me, it must be because they needed it more. But I'm not willing to accept the fact that just because you need something more, that it should be absent for me altogether. Checks and balances. Check yourself and balance the situation out. You do not have to accept someone else's logic as your truth. If they think it's logical to be a cheater, that doesn't mean that that's what you have to believe. If they think it's logical to abuse someone when they don't tell them what they want to hear, that doesn't have to be your truth. You don't have to live and move in that way. Some people might feel like you overreact because you share a certain level of passion about something, but understand you may not always be passionate about that as quickly as the other person. But at the very moment that you are that passionate, it should be respected. It should be understood that this must really mean something to you, because it seems out of your character, right? You normally don't get so high strung about certain things, or if anything. But the minute that you do, it shouldn't be questioned. Not in the sense of defensiveness. Not in the sense of I'm trying to alter your viewpoint on something, but it should be questioned so that I can understand you better, so that you can understand me better, so that we can understand each other better, so that there's a flow, because all things should flow like water. How do y'all feel about unconditional love? What is it to you? What has it done for you? Have you ever experienced it? Have you been a recipient? Or have you been the person giving it? Did you overgive? Did you under-receive? Did you stay too long? Did you get confused and just give up and ride it out because it was easy? Because it was familiar? Because it felt safe? Because growth is uncomfortable. Thank you to everyone that watched this video to the end. I would like to ask everyone to like, share, and subscribe if that's, not too much. Let's let this video be the gift that keeps on giving. After all, this channel is designed to be the words of affirmation for the world. So many people don't know the power that they have within themselves, and you might be one of those people. Or maybe somebody you'll encounter tomorrow is that person. Next week's topic is going to be all about the self tree. If you don't know what that is, I really would like you guys to stay tuned. New videos every week on Sunday. Until then, do good and be good to yourself.